You're listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast with holistic entrepreneurs Mandi and Kathleen Hupp. Tune in each Wednesday to discuss holistic approaches to a happier, more fulfilling life and glittery distractions from the mundane. Nothing is off limits in this series, so grab your glass of champagne or your shot of wheatgrass and prepare for complete and fabulous chaos.
Welcome back, everyone.
Happy 2019.
Woo! This is episode 7, lucky number 7, the night that The Bachelor launches with Colton's season.
That I'm so excited about. And this week's episode is totally inspired by The Bachelor because we're Bachelor fanatics.
Yes.
And all about the topic of virginity. It just really is hot in the headlines right now with the premiering and Colton's storyline. And we just felt like we kind of wanted to talk about it, address it. We've done a little research and looked up some facts, and we just thought it was something that's so beneficial to talk about, you know, and look at the stigma that exists around it.
Yeah, it's such a controversial topic. Not even controversial, but just people feel so strongly one way or the other, and it's so strange. So we're kind of going to talk about why and some history behind it. But if you're listening, grab your glass of champagne and
get ready to talk all things Bachelor and virginity.
Here we go.
So let's start with Bachelor. I'm so excited. I've waited 3 months for this premiere.
Oh, I know. It seemed like such a long time.
It did. Episode 0, we talked a little bit about Bachelor, and we put a poll up on our social media about the Bachelor fans. So if you're listening and you're a Bachelor fan, we heard you. We're going to talk just a little bit about it, but we're getting our brackets ready. So how many of you guys do the brackets, the Bachelor bracket?
Yeah, Fantasy League.
Do you
it's
pick
like
out
the new
day one? You can pick out like who the winner is going to be.
Well, the last few seasons, which I didn't realize until I think Becca's season, when they had the former couples come on and give her like a pep talk. I didn't realize until then, but several of the bachelors and bachelorettes pick their first rose or their first impression rose. That's the person they end up with.
I know, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's going to be the case this season or not, but I'm going to build my bracket accordingly.
I know.
Maybe.
I'm like, do they want to switch it up sometimes? Or are there some things in Bachelor history that are always predictable, you know?
Well, I know. I wonder if, like, for this season, since that's kind of like a known fact now, I wonder if they're going to be like, Colton, whoever your first impression is, don't give her the rose because we don't want our fans to know.
Right?
Like, we don't want it to be predictable.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I'm so excited for this season. And kind of the whole topic with Colton and the virginity thing. I feel like that's been his main storyline, all the ads, everything they've been talking about. You know, it was brought up on Becca's season, and then they talked about it again on Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah.
And I just really hope that it doesn't overshadow the entire episode.
I do too. Because it was such like an intimate thing that he opened up to on Becca's season. And he was like, hey, you know, if we're going to go further in our relationship, you should know this about me.
And now,
it was such a vulnerable thing. And now it's on blast in front of the whole country.
I know. And that's got to take, you know, obviously he has a lot of strength to be a virgin, but it's got to take a very thick shell to be so confident in that decision and your why in that decision, to be able to tolerate all this like social media publicity and them talking about it all the time. And, you know, just for his sake and for obviously like my personal enjoyment of the show is I don't want to hear about it every episode. I don't want every conversation he has with every girl to be talking about it. I just,
it's just like one tiny part of who he is. And we all know, like once he announced on Becca's season that was his choice, we were like, okay, cool, that's part of you. What else is there to know about you?
Do we even know what his job is right now?
No, I know that he used to play football.
Yeah,
like I think in high school.
That's like probably way more important.
I know.
So it should be interesting. You know, we were just talking about the other contestants that they were maybe thinking to make The Bachelor, like Blake, right? Like I love Blake.
I know. I thought he was for sure going to be The Bachelor.
Right. And Jason.
Yeah, he was a good runner-up.
But, you know, could have maybe Colton's storyline with virginity been like the reason they picked him? Like,
possibly.
Without them like admitting it.
Yeah, because it's like a huge topic and they can just, you know, highlight that and spend so much to
Right.
so many dynamics can go into that. So I'm sure that was part of the decision.
Well, we'll see how the episodes go and how the rest of the season goes. But as of right now, my opinion is ABC is overdoing it on the virginity hype.
Yes, let it go. We want to get to know Colton.
Yes. So if you're a Bachelor fan, totally reach out to us. Tell us what you guys think. If you're feeling the same way, is it too much? Is the storyline just going to overpower? And send us your brackets. I want to see what everyone says.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. We'll post ours on our stories once we get them lined up. We got a couple hours before the premiere. It's a 3-hour premiere. It's
I'm
like
so
such a commitment.
Well, sometimes in the first episode, I fast forward through like the pre-show stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Just get to the good stuff.
yeah, just show me the love.
And all the crazy costumes and things that they come out of the limo in.
Yes, I always forget about opening night. It's like opening night ceremony.
I've always wondered what my opening would look like, when I come out of the limo, or would I drive up with like a Ferrari, or like what would I do?
I feel like you would show up in a wedding dress in a Ferrari, probably also in a Ferrari.
I don't know. I feel like I'd want to be like super glam, but like men are kind of intimidated by that too.
Yeah,
like,
that can be off-putting.
I don't know. And then you're coming up with that like silly tagline of like, hi.
But no, you would be full Barbie.
Yeah,
in one way or another.
I would have to, because of like the show. Like if I was going to be on TV, like your girl is getting dressed up.
Glam squad at night.
And I feel like, with Bachelor, getting off the topic of virginity for 1 second, is just Bachelor is becoming such a crazy show because people are going on it for like social media attention. And, there's no contestant, come on, that goes on that show anymore without seeing it beforehand. Like there's just no way.
Yeah. Everyone knows. It's kind of predictable, like, because the show itself hasn't changed much over the years.
Yeah.
Like they've stayed true to what they are. So it is very predictable. And if someone sees it as a game, then they can easily play it as a game.
Right.
So I always feel for the Bachelor and Bachelorette who have to like pick through the people who really care about them, or the people who are just really good actors.
Yeah, it's so true.
Oof.
Oh, it's going to be a good season.
I know.
I'm excited. We've been waiting a while for this, so you'll probably hear us chat a little bit more about it as we go on, and then us venting about the things that we can't believe happened. So talking about the topic of virginity, the older you get, the kind of less you think about it, because it's not really common in our age range. Like being in my 30s, like I don't really think about it. It's been so long, and I don't really have friends that talk about it. So when this topic came up, I was like, wow, to think in today, like society, what it must be like to be a virgin. I was a virgin like almost 20 years ago, which is so scary. No, not that far. Maybe like 15 years ago. But, 15 years later now in today's society with social media and the internet, like what a crazy concept.
Yeah, people have gotten so desensitized to it, like us as a society, that sex is everywhere. It's almost like porn is interlaced in TV shows and movies.
Crazy.
Like these things that they couldn't show 15 years ago, there were laws against that. And now it's like in your face everywhere, like on your phone, on the computer, on, every TV show, every website, every movie that you see.
Yeah. So the decision
always
to
on the brain.
be a virgin or stay a virgin, you think like that takes dedication. I think you were saying that, right? Like to make that decision, what a commitment and a sign of strength.
Exactly. I mean, it would be so easy to fall into temptation. Like I'm sure people who save themselves for marriage, I'm sure they're tempted, I don't know, thousands of times. Yeah. Just countless. And it's an everyday decision to be like, okay, I'm doing this because why? Like I'm holding out because why?
Yes, the why.
And most of the times I think they hold out for their future spouse just because they want to have a deeper, more intimate bond with them. Yeah. And I think that's beautiful because they're holding out for something like they usually haven't even met this person yet.
Right.
And they're like, I'm going to save this for this person that I hope to find. And they have to go through, I don't know, countless encounters with that why.
Yeah.
And being like, okay, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. Just power through.
Isn't it crazy though that like, I think of like society in general, right? Like there is no right or wrong to be a virgin, to wait for marriage, to maybe not wait for marriage, but wait for the right situation, or not having your virginity and giving it up early, or maybe not even caring about it. That no matter what you choose or no matter your own personal thing, it can always be looked at as negative, right? Like we look at people that are a virgin later in life or later in their 20s and think, wow, negativity is around that. Like they're a virgin. I can't believe why. And then you think of people that have lost their virginity really early and they're judged because they were too young and they gave it up too soon. Like they have no self-control. So like, it doesn't matter what side of the spectrum you are, whether you wait or whether you don't wait or whether, you know,
people always want to judge no matter what your choices are.
Yeah. And that's so ridiculous to me. So the whole concept of virginity is like just a societal norm that shouldn't even exist. Right.
It's like, what is that saying? If you save yourself for marriage, then you're a prude. And if you don't, then you're a whore.
Yeah.
Like, what is the middle ground then?
That doesn't even make any sense
like, just
to me.
Stop judging. Everyone be okay with your own decision and be happy.
Right. Exactly. I think that's the point is we have to, you know, you make that decision for yourself. And we talked a little bit about it's more of an emotional thing than a physical thing, right?
It really is. And once you said that, it just like this light bulb went off and I was like, yeah, I do feel like kind of my virginity was gone to someone before the actual intercourse happened. Like, you know, when you have that young love and you're just so impressionable and I don't know, I can totally relate to that being a concept, I guess, like the emotional virginity.
Yeah. You know, who's to say that a certain act between two people is like the defining moment you lost your virginity?
Because there are so many different ways to have sex. It's like, what is the virgin losing way? Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
It ends up being like if that person identifies as a virgin or not. Like, you know, and how many times like are we a born again virgin, right? Like you get out of a relationship and you're like, I'm going to be celibate for a year or two and I want to reset and refresh. Like you can do that. No one can say you can't, you know?
Right.
So it's just this like society norm. And if we look back at the history of virginity, it kind of pisses me off as a woman because virginity, like think about back in the day, like women were seen as commodities. Like we were sold from our husbands to or from our fathers to our future husband, right? Like we were given away and like our father got these like huge dowries and money for like our selling.
Yeah, it was like the merging of two families, usually for like a power gain or something.
Yeah, and so we were just considered a commodity and our virginity was part of that commodity. So like women who had their virginity were priced higher to be sold to their future husbands.
You got your brand new car.
Yeah, exactly. Like we are now comparing women's virginity to like these valuable things in life that can be sold.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that whole like father walks daughter down the aisle thing. And, you know, nowadays it's like, what the heck does it matter?
Well, and also I feel like it completely flipped. So back then the virginity was desired because the bride was seen as this like beautiful, untouched, like brand new thing. And nowadays there's such a stigma with virginity that so many guys are like, oh my gosh, if you take someone's virginity, she's going to be stuck on you for life. Like stage 5 clinger, don't do it. You know, so many times that's the case. And it's like, how did that shift?
Right.
Like what happened?
No, you're so right. I think we read what the average age of losing your virginity as of 2017 was almost the same for men and women. It was like 16.8 years old for men and 17.2 years old for women. So about 17 years old for both.
Right.
So it's crazy how the societal norms for men and women virginity is so different, but they're losing their virginity at about the same age. You know, some men wait till they're 30 and some do it when they're 12. Like, I mean, that's probably extreme, but you know what I mean? Like, why?
It's wild. We're walking on the same life path, but we're just like throwing stones at the other person.
You're like judge, you know? So this whole thing with Colton, I feel like many people, like men can't wrap their head around the fact that he's a virgin and he played football and he's attractive and he's older. And then women are also like, well, is he not inexperienced? Like, why would he wait? You know, and then some women want to like be the prize, you know, like be the one that like gets this gift of his virginity. Yeah. So it's just like crazy, you know, men and women view it so differently.
Well, and it's weird too, that added dynamic with Colton being, you know, this attractive former football player. And, you know, in that realm, society wants them to be, you know, full of women, just like going through women all the time. Like, oh my gosh, he's such a player. Like
he's an athlete.
And when it's the opposite, people are like, okay, this doesn't fit in my, like the box in my brain. Like he's supposed to be with a lot of girlfriends. Why is he with 0? Or, you know, why is he still a virgin? He could have everybody.
What's wrong with him?
Yeah. So it's like, I think it comes down to us just wanting to categorize things and people and label and have everything organized in our minds. And then when something is an anomaly, we're like, wait, what? how?
Wait, why?
But it comes back to what you said. Like, it's beautiful. It takes so much motivation and so much determination. And I think that translates into almost every other aspect in their life.
Right. So like he is now looked at as like such a valuable husband because if he can say no to temptation for so long for no reason,
Right.
other than his why, then when he's married, his why is even stronger to be faithful to his wife and that relationship and all that.
And nothing can crack him.
Yeah. And you were looking at some stats about marriage and virginity and divorce, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of all over the map, but in divorce rates, we always try to link factors into divorce so we can figure out why our divorce rates are so high. There's some studies that show that it could be related to how many people you sleep with before you are married. And the smallest group of people that get divorced have had 0 premarital partners.
That's insane.
So they're virgins until they get married and they have the lowest divorce rate. But then once you go up there, like above that, there's like when you have 1 to 2 partners, you're kind of in the middle range. And then when you have way more partners, then you're kind of somewhere in between. So it's kind of like vague and messy after that, but
it's pretty clear.
Just interesting. Yeah. So when you save yourself for marriage, you do have the lowest divorce rate, but that also could be linked to religion.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people who save themselves for marriage, they're very religious. And, religion has its own contributing factors to a successful marriage. So
yeah, absolutely.
That could be part of it.
Definitely. I mean, there's so many factors around it, but I think the biggest takeaway from even like the topic and reading and doing this research to do this podcast is just, we need to stop like pressuring people into one way or the other, right? Like,
yeah. Whether it's even gay or straight.
Yeah.
Or
whatever you decide, it's going to work for you.
Yeah.
You want to wait. If you want to call yourself a born again virgin, go for it. You know, if you want to say you lost your virginity because you had a certain experience with someone, then okay. It is what it is. And honestly, I think it's like really no one's business other than yours and your partners. If you ever want to share that with them,
it's true. Unless you want to share it with people, but it's no one's business to be flaunting about you. And especially to the extent that it's kind of been about Colton.
That's my whole like hiccup with it. Like he mentioned it. Cool. Great. He's also mentioned other things in his life. So
which I don't remember because they haven't been brought up once since he said that.
Why are we dwelling on this? And it's like, well, it's clearly a marketing ploy to get people's attention, which is clearly indicative of our fascination with this whole concept. And it's just bizarre to me, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I want to know what your guys' opinion is.
I was going to say he's definitely in a smaller percentage because anytime that someone does something different or when they're the minority doing that decision, then the whole world is like, why, how, what is the motivation?
We want the details.
Yeah. We must know everything. And I think the virginity rate these days is like 5% when it used to be like 21 back in the 70s.
Wow.
So that's part of it is there are so few virgins these days. So people want to know why and like, how do they do it with all these temptations and what keeps them motivated? And so anyway, I think it could be like part judging, but also part fascination and just like wonderment.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it should be interesting. I hope they just don't overdo it.
I know. We just want to see real love. We don't care about all the gritty details. Maybe a couple of them, but not really.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we are making our bracket tonight before the show launches.
I'm so excited.
And then so when you guys are listening to this episode 1 of The Bachelor will have aired. So go to our website and download the bracket and make it yourself. And then we'll compare at the end of the season.
Who had the right one?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to do like a giveaway or someone who fills out the bracket and sends it to us before next week's episode. So before the episode on Monday, January 14th, if you send us your bracket before Monday, January 14th on our Instagram and you pick the winner, we'll find out it's like 2 months of The Bachelor.
Yeah.
If you're one of the people that in your bracket, you pick the winner, we're going to have a really cool giveaway for you.
Yeah.
So do that. Give it a shot.
So it'll be on our website. Go get it and do it with us. And if you don't watch The Bachelor, then I don't know, weigh in, give us your thoughts one way or the other on The Bachelor and on virginity.
Yes, we want to know, why do you watch The Bachelor? Why don't you watch The Bachelor? interact with us. We absolutely love to hear from you guys.
Yes.
And share with us your kind of opinions on all of this, because I think it's so unique. We all have our own experience with it. For me, I was really young. I was only 14. Like, I'll tell anyone that, but it was with my high school sweetheart. We dated for 4 years. So like 14 seems really young, but I had like a serious as you can get high school relationship. We like kind of lived together and we got our driver's license together at 16 and, we did college applications together and we had like a cool relationship for 4 years. So it was young, but like, it was serious to me.
Yeah. At the time, for sure.
Other people do it later in life and maybe it's not as serious to them. So age, I think, is kind of irrelevant sometimes. So I love to kind of, hear from other people and what their experience was. If it was random, if it was planned, how old they were, like the factors that go into it. It's just, we all have our own story and you can't compare yourself to the person next to you because
you can't. I mean, look, you had this like beautiful young love story and then mine was random and someone I didn't even like care for that much. And I think I did mine because of the stigma.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a negative thing in my life. Just based on society norms.
Just want to check off the list.
Get rid of this. I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous.
So yeah, it's an interesting topic. So share with us. We're open books and we love to have open conversations with you guys. So connect with us. And I think to wrap it up, I want to shout out to all of our cleansers who joined us on our group cleanse.
Yeah, this is day one.
Day one. I've been feeling so much energy and been flooding my body with all the green juice and the wheatgrass. I had an avocado this morning. I had an apple with some sun butter. So I've just been flooding my body with superfoods and good nutrition and
feeling good, thinking clear.
Yeah. So shout out to all of you who wanted to start 2019 with us. The ones that are doing the parasite cleanse, I totally applaud you. I think everyone needs to do one. So if you haven't, feel free to always jump in with us at any time. Kathleen and I are here to coach you. I use this one in my practice. Kathleen's done it a few times as well. And she's so familiar with different types of juice cleanses. So anything that you're struggling with or unsure about, we have the answers for you. And we're here to hold your hand and cheer you on. And 10 days flies by, right?
Oh, yeah. I wish it was longer. Honestly, day 10, I'm always like, oh, last day.
I know. I have one girl that's doing the 14-day. So she'll do the 10-day cleanse. And then we're going to follow it up with 30 days of just a bunch of superfoods because, when you're doing it more for like health reasons, it took more than 10 days to get into your current situation. Yeah. So it's going to take a little longer for the body to purge the toxins and reset the hormones and rebalance everything. So just keep on cleansing, get all the gunk out. Keep on keeping on. So even though Kathleen and I are cleansing, this was a champagne episode. So grab your glass of champagne, watch The Bachelor if you want or don't, and cheers with us.
So thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast. If you loved today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Join the Wheatgrass and Champagne community on Instagram, Facebook, and wheatgrassandchampagne.com. Details from this episode can be found in the show notes below. Tune in next Wednesday as we continue to seek the perfect balance between indulging and upgrading. Until then, cheers.